It's been a dream to join the MCU. The movie is called The Fantastic Four. I'll confess, I did all my stretching for...
Pascal is getting very defensive. He's getting very much, of course, vocal toward the critics, toward Marvel fans, blaming everything on Trump, blaming everything on MAGA and Trump supporters again.
Sometimes I felt like I was in a Reed Richards science class, which is not what I really wanted to be in.
Pedro Pascal is firing back. He's getting very tired of...
Look, this is not a life-changing, the MCU has been saved, this movie paid off my car, this movie cured my depression. It's not that. It's really not.
And now you got Disney CEO Bob Iger only making matters worse.
Bill Maher just ripped Pedro Pascal a new one, all because of the rumored Fantastic Four disaster. You heard that right. The sequel they're saying is DEAD gone. But what if I told you the real story is so much crazier it makes a train wreck look like a mild fender bender? What if I told you the whole cast walked out but didn't say a word and did it in the most Hollywood way possible? And that Pedro Pascal was left alone on a Zoom call talking to himself?
Disney and Marvel Studios, they went into panic mode, they went into damage control mode over, of course, all the Hollywood trades talking about this. Box office metrics for the Fantastic Four First Steps now sitting at $367 million worldwide.
Whispers say Marvel was in full panic mode. After a string of box office flops and Disney Plus shows that made watching paint dry seem like a thrilling adventure, they needed a miracle. So they pull out their trump card, Pedro Pascal. They market him as their new emotional anchor, the thinking man's superhero, the guy who could reboot the MCU's soul. The media ate it up, calling him the next Iron Man, a new Moses coming down from the mountaintop with emotional depth. I mean, what do you even do with that? Is he going to deliver the 10 Commandments, but instead of thou shalt not kill, it's thou shalt feel? And this is where things get weird. The movie was being treated like a savior, but then it all came crashing down faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake.
And actually going through a 66% drop, globally speaking.
So what exactly happened that turned a surefire hit into a silent Hollywood nightmare? Sources on set say the vibe wasn't exciting and collaborative, but rather tense, uncomfortable, almost cult-like. Apparently he wasn't just rehearsing, he was rewriting. Every line, every character moment not centered on Reed Richards became subject to his interpretation. It's like showing up to a band practice, and the lead singer decides he's now the conductor, the composer, and a philosopher, and everyone else is just holding a triangle. It makes you wonder, if you're that talented, why are you allegedly rewriting a comic book movie instead of, I don't know, an actual tragedy? But the drama didn't stop there. The table read. Oh, the table read. You'd think this would be a bonding moment, a chance for the cast to finally sync up. Instead, they got silence and confusion. Pedro reportedly showed up with a script that looked like it had been through a war. Red ink everywhere, lines crossed out, and new emotional soliloquies squeezed into the margins. It looked more like a grief journal than a Marvel script. And instead of starting with the planned script, he kicked things off with a new monologue that wasn't in any draft. The guy's so into his new vision, he's apparently delivering a grief journal dressed up as a script rewrite. This man is so focused on his character's inner turmoil, he forgot that his character's power is to literally stretch his body, not a monologue. The room froze. Vanessa Kirby reportedly crossed her arms, Joseph Quinn stared blankly, and Ebon Moss-Backrack looked like someone had just spoiled the ending of his entire career. You'd think someone would say something, right? You'd think someone would stop him. But nobody did. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the project flatlined. So what did the cast do next, you ask? What happens when a multi-billion-dollar franchise is taken over by one man's alleged personal agenda? After the table read disaster, Marvel leadership thought they could fix it. Some polite notes here, a few studio memos there, maybe a corporate lunch and some stage smiles for Instagram. But the cast had already made their decision. They didn't make noise, they didn't leak, they just vanished. No more posts, no more interviews, no more press buzz. It was like someone hit a kill switch on all external communication. Bill Maher saw it for what it was, the most polite mutiny in MCU history. It wasn't scheduling conflicts. This was a classy walkout, Hollywood style. No angry tweets, no dramatic exits, just an eerie, calculated silence that screamed, "We're out." It left Marvel scrambling in full panic mode without a single scandal to spin. While the cast checked out, Pedro doubled down. What started as creative suggestions allegedly morphed into creative demands. This man wasn't just playing Reed Richards, he was trying to reinvent him. But what happens when the actor becomes bigger than the movie? The drama didn't stay behind the scenes. When the press tour began, it was supposed to be the usual Marvel charm machine. Fun anecdotes, cast chemistry, viral moments. Instead, every interview turned into Pedro's personal monologue about inner trauma and symbolism. Bill Maher wasn't amused. They brought him on to talk about action scenes. He showed up with a thesis paper. He was so focused on being the main character, he forgot he was part of an ensemble. Vanessa Kirby barely spoke. Joseph Quinn sat frozen in awkward disbelief. Ebon Moss-Bachrach looked like a man regretting every decision that brought him to that chair. In one now viral moment, Pedro interrupted Kirby mid-answer just to launch into a speech about broken systems and moral ambiguity. She didn't respond. She just leaned back and stared. It was like watching a dinner party where one person is talking about the psychology of their dog for 20 minutes straight. So, what did Marvel's PR team do to control the uncontrollable? Marvel's PR team went into overdrive, cutting interviews short, emailing topic guidelines to the press, even pulling entire segments. But the internet, as always, had already done its job. The clips were everywhere. With chaos spreading and public perception spiraling, Marvel tried one last thing: a private Zoom call. No executives, no press, just the original cast and director Matt Shakman. One final chance to rebuild the team. It was Marvel's Hail Mary. But what happened? Pedro showed up like he was giving a TED Talk from a hotel room. No greetings, no casual catch-up, just a 20-minute monologue on trauma, artistic responsibility, and how Marvel needed to evolve emotionally. It's like he forgot he was there to make a superhero movie, not to get a PhD in psychology. Stan Lee's probably rolling in his grave thinking, what the hell happened to fun? But wait, this is where it gets absolutely insane. Vanessa Kirby tried to respond, but Pedro cut her off. Joseph Quinn logged off first, no warning, just gone. Vanessa followed, then Ebbett. Pedro was left delivering his speech to a screen full of empty profile icons. It's like he went from Marvel's lead hero to a man preaching to ghosts in a Google Meet. And with that, the movie was over before a single scene had even been filmed. Fans weren't fooled. The internet did what it always does. It obsessed. Reddit threads exploded with frame-by-frame breakdowns of press interviews. TikTokers turned awkward cast moments into viral sagas. YouTube commentators began connecting dots no one at Marvel wanted connected. From Pascal's uncomfortable monologues to the sudden, unexplained disappearance of the original cast, every sigh, every glance, every tight-lipped smile from Vanessa Kirby or Joseph Quinn was analyzed like a crime scene. Bill Maher, on his show, played the now infamous Zoom clip and said, "This doesn't look like a superhero team. It looks like a last-ditch hostage negotiation with bad lighting." The audience roared, but the industry didn't, because behind the scenes, everyone knew it wasn't a joke. It was real. So, what did the cast do next? And how did Marvel respond to being ghosted? What made it worse, or better, depending on who you ask, was what the cast did next. They didn't fight. They didn't speak out. They didn't drop cryptic Instagram captions or go off on podcasts. They just moved on. And they moved up. Vanessa Kirby signed on with Christopher Nolan. Joseph Quinn landed a multi-picture franchise deal at Warner Brothers. Ebon Moss-Bachrach inked a deal with A24 for a prestige thriller. All three were snapped up by major studio. Studios saw their silence not as a liability, but as a quiet, powerful rejection of Marvel's chaos. No comments, no shade, just a clear message, we're done here. Sources say Marvel and Disney tried to reach out gentle rep pitches, soft offers, quiet phone calls. And the answer across the board? A simple, final, unambiguous no. So what's the truth? Was Pedro Pascal trying to elevate the genre or just hijack it for his own self-expression? What was the final cost of one man's ambition? Bill Maher didn't mince words. Pedro wanted to be Tony Stark and Sigmund Freud at the same time, but forgot people came for powers, not poetry. What happened behind closed doors wasn't just an artistic difference. It was ego, it was control, it was a billion-dollar brand handed to a man with a personal agenda, and it backfired loudly. Maher warned studios everywhere. When the actor becomes bigger than the movie, you're not making a film anymore. You're staging a therapy session. And the cost? One dead reboot, one fractured cast, and one franchise Marvel can't even publicly admit they lost. Marvel brought in Pedro Pascal to resurrect Fantastic Four. Instead, they got a slow-motion implosion, complete with walkouts, zoom disasters, and a cast that ghosted the studio like a bad date. Bill Maher didn't just roast the performance, he exposed the rot beneath it. This wasn't just about bad acting. This was about control, ego, and a billion-dollar machine that allegedly forgot what it was built to do. Pedro Pascal didn't just star in Fantastic Four, he became the story. And Marvel, they lost the narrative before a single camera even rolled. So now the real question is this: was Pedro pushing boundaries or just flexing power he was never supposed to have? And if this is how Marvel's comeback ends, what crashes next?